Really excited. I was super stoked because it's our first crossover, and knowing that, they're both really successful franchises on their own, and then combining them, I think the fans are going to go insane.
I grew more popular among my male friends who are Marvel comic book fans. And I was actually nervous to see how they would merge both worlds, but they did it seamlessly. It looks awesome.
Yeah, we always record separately. We just have for like the last 7 years, because usually, she'll be in a different state while I'll be somewhere else and like doing other things. So it's kind of hard to work with our schedules and get us all together. But it's cool how it just sounds like we're in the room together.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see. I think the girl fans especially will relate to that moment where we're representing the female power. I think it's going to be a good moment for them.
How do I deal with it? It's always so funny because she's got a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And when I was actually younger playing the character 7 years ago, so I just always, I always had that, like, that is probably the hardest part to play Candace, is that she's like really high strung and she's crazy. So I just know I come out of the recording studio and I'm like drained. Like, I'm like, what just happened? And it's just like, Swampy is really cool, and Dan, because they have like a library of moms and screaming, because I do it every episode. So they sometimes, like, if I'm also, I do music, so if I'm recording music or I have something else that day, they're like, you don't have to scream, it's fine, we'll get it in the library. So it's definitely it's fun to play her though, but she definitely is exhausting.
You would think in this crossover that Phineas would notice just her tremendous array of skills. He's still oblivious, but
He's a boy.
he's a boy.
They're always oblivious. It's like, you know. I would give myself advice and stay away from Candace. If I was in the room with Candace, what would I tell her? I'd be like, you know what? I would say to her, you got to calm down. You got to calm down. Life isn't all about busting your brothers, and you're missing the moments. You're missing the journey. You're just trying to get to the point every single episode. So I would just be like, you got to let go a little bit and chill out, you know?
I would sit Isabella down and say, honey, you're multi-talented, but your achievements are not your value as a person. I see all those badges that you have from your Fireside Girl days. You're great. You're awesome and you're rocking it, but you're more than that. You are enough just as you are.
It's so funny because I remember being at Comic-Con one year, and all of us introducing ourselves as our characters and our voices was one of the hardest things for me. Because it's easier to be behind a microphone and do your voice, but when people ask me to do it on the spot, I'm like, it's hard to get into it. Yeah. But I guess with Candace, I make her, as I've gotten older, I'm like, I definitely have, like, I have two different ranges. Like, I could be really sounding young, or I could just when I'm a little bit more chill, I'll just sound like have a deeper voice. So sometimes Swampy and Dan will notice and be like, oh, they're like, can you pitch her up a little bit? So I pitch her up to be a little younger, and then I just act crazy. And I just do things. Just act nuts. Yeah, act crazy. Some of the funniest things, like, I think I made Swampy laugh so hard the other day. We were doing ADR, and he was just like, just laugh. And I'm like, she's just a nut. She's a nut. So I just started doing this, like, weird laugh as she's, like, running throughout the park. And it was in a song, and it was just like, and it was like this weird, like, pitch, and he was just, like, dying laughing because she's so crazy. So really, you just have to be crazy, you know? You have to have a little craziness.
Life lessons.
Yes.
What was the question? The secret behind Isabella's voice is recording the first episode 7.5 years ago and then watching yourself go through puberty and having to match it.
That is harder for you.
But I don't mind it because I've grown up doing a lot of young voices for babies. Like I do babies crying or cooing or whatever. So it's not much of a challenge. It's more getting into the frame of mind that Isabella is always obsessed with Phineas, because I myself am usually like kind of business oriented and not really into guys. And I guess Isabella is like that too. So I think if anything, it's more the character personality traits than the voice itself. The voice comes with practice and repetition.
Just like the success of it has been so, it's just been amazing, and it's an honor to be a part of. You know, I've been doing animations since I was like 10 years old, and I did 3 animation pilots for Disney, and this happened to be the one that got picked up. And when we did this, I don't think we ever expected it to be as successful. And we have like people come up to us, like comedians. Like I had Jon Stewart at Kids' Choice Awards say like how much he loves Phineas and Ferb, and how his kids, like he's like, when I see you, he's like, all I can think about is you screaming mom, Phineas and Ferb. I was like, what? You're Jon Stewart? Like that's insane. Like that's so cool. So it's just a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. I get recognized more for Phineas and Ferb than any on-camera show or movie I've ever done. And I think the most surprising element is just the diversity in guest stars. Like in the new season and in older seasons, we've had such a variety of people from all around the world who are like wrestlers, not just actors. What if it was only wrestlers or actors? We have wrestlers. That's the secret to doing Isabella's voice. So I think the guest stars, just the fan response, and kind of like it's like leaving a legacy for the next generation of animation for young people, showing that we can have witty TV and the whole family can enjoy it.
Yeah, that is really cool, because it's just I love how Dan and Swampy write, just because kids obviously laugh about it, but then parents kind of get it too, and so it's like really entertaining for them to watch. Like I've never had a parent be like, oh, like I just put it on and leave my kids. Like people are always like, oh my gosh, like I watch it with my kids. It's so funny,
Right.
you know?